The need to infinitely customize everything. That's always the thing that I fight with when I go to a client. Oh, that doesn't work here. Retrospective doesn't work here because the team suggests something and then you got to get management to sign off to change something. Like, what are we doing, guys?
We talked about that on one of the podcasts, how, people who say that doesn't work here usually can link it back to an experience they had. They tried it, they did it wrong, and it didn't work. So now they just hide behind that. Oh, it doesn't work here.
Yeah.
It's not for us, right? But you never did it right to begin with.
I mean, that's a controversial saying. I even say it in class. I'm like, Scrum works 100% of the time. Mm-hmm. And people are like, nah, that's not true. If you think about, and even anyone listening to this, think about what I just said. Scrum works 100% of the time. And you're probably thinking about a scenario or a location where it didn't work, but I guarantee you it's because you weren't doing 100% Scrum. Right. It's always like you left out some big, huge gaping hole, and then you can't blame Scrum. It's like you said, we don't do retrospectives. Well, that's not Scrum. We don't have a cross-functional team. Well, that's not Scrum. Our teams can't do face-to-face. Well, that's not Scrum. It's like you're doing elements of Scrum, but that's not Scrum. So, yeah, of course you have problems. And every single problem rolls up to one of the 12 Agile principles.
Yeah.
Every single problem we've ever run into, I'm sure, Omi, that you've run into, you could trace it up to.
Yep.
One of the 12 Agile principles are not being followed. Business people are not being face-to-face with developers daily basis or whatever it is. Architectures, requirements, and designs aren't coming from a single, cross-functional team. So,
but companies there's so many companies that just say, well, we can't be purist about Agile, so we're just going to adopt it for us. And then, like you said, they're not doing Scrum. Mm-hmm. And then when it fails, they go, well, Scrum didn't work. What they should say is our version of Scrum.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
Our version, our Scrum butt of it didn't work. Because you're right. It's like our version of it didn't work. I'm glad they're being more Scrum. I'm glad they're being more Agile, but you can't say it didn't work.
I just don't understand why you would put in that amount of effort to try to reinvent the wheel when it's all laid out for you.
Yeah.
I
can see where they try to customize your event to fit their environment, but to your point, it's like, recognize that when you're failing in something, it's not because you need to now is the time to, okay, we tried to do it without this or in a certain way, it's not working, so let's add that in there, or let's bring that into the mix.